Am I the a-hole for calling out my girlfriend for spending money on useless things? Hello, I'm a 25 male and my girlfriend is 23 female. We have been dating for 2.5 years. Typically, I do not date because I believe it is a distraction and I like to focus on things such as making money, going to the gym, and maximizing my wealth and business. I do not usually like to be around people that talk about basic things, as I try to surround myself with other entrepreneurs and business people. My girlfriend and I met on Tinder, and our first conversation about self-growth and building a legacy for our futures. I was intrigued, as typically other people in this generation care more about showing off shopping and wasting money on restaurants. She was different, and our first date was at my apartment as we were reading books about business side by side. One thing that turned me off a lot was she liked crystals and astrology, but I do not believe in that because I believe we build our own fate through hustle and work. She, on the other hand, believes in manifestation and waiting for things to come to her. So she is lazy. I myself have investments in FTS, crypto, and Tesla. She keeps talking about how she wants to grow her wealth and her legacy like me, but instead she wastes her time and money doing skincare routine, makes TikToks all day, and has a baking business with her sister. Meanwhile, I start off my day at 5:30 a.m. working out, reading book about entrepreneurship, walking my dog, networking on LinkedIn, meditating, and doing research on investment opportunities. Meanwhile, my girlfriend works in an office, which I think is holding her back, and goes to the gym only twice a week at the most. On numerous occasions, I have brought up to her that the reason I chose her from the other girls on Tinder is because I was under the impression that she had a hustler mentality, which is clearly not the case. She fights back by saying that she is the one paying rent. Therefore, I have no room to talk about her like that. What she doesn't understand is that statistically, most entrepreneurs only make money 3 years in. Once I see a proper return on my long-term plan, then I will give her the life she craves, though does not work for. One morning, she told me I need to cut down on my investment spending because I paid $3,000 for an online course that was necessary for my growth. I threw it back in her face because she spends money on useless stuff that doesn't benefit our future, while this would. She called me an a-hole for this, which I may be because what I said was in fact rude, especially with my tone. Am I the a-hole for calling out my girlfriend for spending money on useless things? My opinion for OP. Yeah, you're the a-hole in this situation. It sounds to me like she's paying rent and you're telling her and judging her that she's spending money on useless things? You say that you're investing in things that's going to pay you back in the future and create a better future for the two of you. Well, until that actually happens, you don't really have a right to judge her what she spends her money on. Now for the advice. This is a joke, right? You are the a-hole just in case you're serious. You sound insufferable. You don't get to say your girlfriend's office job is holding her back when it pays your rent. Your girlfriend has a balanced life with a job and other interests and hobbies as she should. She's living a far more successful life than you are. No matter how many times you call yourself a hustler or rant about crypto, and to be clear, she's allowed to spend that money on things that she enjoys and that aren't for your benefit because she's the one who's actually earning that money. Hold on. She pays the bills because you're waiting on a return from your investments to actually be making money. But she's wasting money and not entitled to spend her money on the things that she wants. And you're judging her way of life and mentality and saying she hasn't earned your support even though she's paying the rent for you right now? Meanwhile, you're falling for every money-making scam in the book and judging her for not being as career-focused as you are. Yeah, you're the a-hole, a massive one, and I hope she finds someone worth her time. You are the a-hole. Have you any idea how pretentious and boring you sound? Your girlfriend sounds like she is well-rounded and has found balance in things she enjoys. You, on the other hand, sound like you understand only one thing, and that's money. But you aren't very good at it if she has to pay your rent. You have delusions of grandeur and, frankly, sound like a snake oil salesman. Anyone who talks about a hustle lifestyle is automatically an a-hole. You are the a-hole. She's the one paying rent. You say you're an entrepreneur, so is that just hustler speak for unemployed and living off your girlfriend while attempting to get somewhere with some MLM scheme? And then you have the gall to call her lazy and complain that she works in an office and has a baking business with her sister and only goes to the gym a couple of times a week? Ever consider that she doesn't have time to go to the gym because she's working to make the money that you are plugging into your investments that as yet haven't contributed anything to the financial legacy relationship? Yep, you're the a-hole all the way here. Woo boy, this is a lot to unpack. I have to say you come across as incredibly arrogant and holier than thou. Why are you together if you consider dating to be beneath you and her hobbies and interests stupid? You make it sound like taking care of your skin is a stupid luxury she should not have, which is quite frankly ridiculous. Do you not wash your face? Gross. You even insult her by calling her lazy. Why do you think that working in an office is holding her back? According to you, she's a partner in her own business and is the one paying rent, and you have the balls to say that she doesn't have a hustler attitude and put down all of her achievements? It's very unclear as to how your finances are divided. Who paid for the $3,000 course? Is she spending her own money on things you consider frivolous? If she's spending her own money, then she's allowed to spend it as she sees fit. And from what you indicate, anything that is not spent specifically on her career growth is a waste to you. Let her have her skincare routine and other things that she deems pleasurable or important. You are the a-hole, big time. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for sending him a bill for $1,000 after him and his kid ate all of our food? I've been seeing Jack for 2 years now, but we live separately due to the kids and just wanting to make sure this is 100% all in before uprooting them. I have 2 sons, 13-year-old twins, and 1 daughter, 11. He has 1 daughter, 13. We do weekend stays together twice a month so far, and there's never been any major issues, honestly. The girls have gotten into a few petty arguments, but other than that, no big problems. I spend around $1,000 a month in food that covers me and my kids, plus Jack and his daughter, for the 2 visits a month. I do a lot of meal prep and couponing. Last month, my mother asked me and my kids to go to her place in Louisiana to help her move out of her home and into a 50-plus community. It made me feel more comfortable to have my house occupied in my absence to keep the dehumidifiers and everything running. Huge moisture issues, and I don't want anything to mold or rust. So I asked Jack if he and his daughter wanted to stay at my place for 2 weeks in our absence to keep everything running smoothly. I gave it a 2-week time frame, but was unsure of how long it would actually take. I knew the drive alone would be 2 days there and 2 days back. He agreed. I did my monthly shop before leaving and spent $1,092. I told them they could have some of my food when we were gone, so maybe this is my fault. But anyway, we got back 2 days ago, 4 days before the 2-week mark, and found my house practically in ruin. Dirty dishes on the counters and table, dirty clothes throughout the living room and bedrooms, both mine and my daughter's where they slept. I keep my house clean, so this caused a lot of panic on my end. Grew up in a hoarder house, so I take pride in a clean home. But the one thing that truly tipped me over the edge was finding that they went through at least 90% of the food that I bought before leaving in less than 2 weeks. We were left with a single pack of hamburger, all the veggies, and a few boxes of pasta. Jack started scrambling when we entered the home, saying, "Sorry, I was going to clean before you got back, but I didn't expect you so soon." I just gave a hushed, "Please leave." He and his daughter left, but after giving it some thought, I told him he had to reimburse us the $1,000 worth of food that he and his daughter ate. I told him their intake was absolutely repulsive, that I said he could have some, not eat everything in the house, and leave us with nothing. He said that he had allowed his kid to have her friends over, and they are a lot, but he shouldn't have to give me $1,000, given that I told him they could eat the food, that I have more than enough money, which is true, and he doesn't, also true. I still want to be reimbursed, however, and yes, we split up. Am I the a-hole? ETA, this may make me sound bad, but I wouldn't consider him house sitting as doing me any favors. All he had to do was dump out the dehumidifier when it got full. I could have asked my neighbors to do that for $200. He and his daughter live in a small apartment, and coming to my house feels like a vacation to them. Their words, not mine. I have a 2-story home with 6 bedrooms on the beach, with a hot tub, a game room, cable, and high-speed internet. They were essentially getting a free vacation, and the only thing they had to do was dump the dehumidifier once a day. I more or less asked for the $1,000 based off of principal alone. I don't expect him to give me the money, but since he was not understanding my viewpoint, on my end, it was acceptable. I asked him for the $1,000 so he could open his eyes and understand how big of a deal it truly is. I did the big shot before leaving because I had work obligations scheduled for when I returned, and going out and doing a big shop in the middle of 4 showings and mandatory seminars would have been a nightmare. I didn't buy any fridge stuff outside of what I knew they would eat. Everything I bought was non-perishables, boxed dinners, and meat for the freezer. I didn't leave him over the food. I left him because after I tried explaining why this was wrong of him, he accused me of throwing my privilege and money in his face, knowing he's not as financially stable as me and making him and his daughter feel bad for doing nothing wrong. I have never thrown money in his face, never asked him for anything, have paid for everything in the past 2 years because he could not. Helped him with multiple bills and things his daughter needed without question. So he made me feel stupid, and I won't tolerate it. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Where I live, pet and house sitting would run about $50 a day, and my sitter provides their own food. So it would cost me $550 for 11 days. To feed a family of 4 in an expensive market cost me $2,000 a month. So even if they had consumed half the food, that would be excessive IMO. There is no planet where it would be a reasonable expectation that it was a free-for-all on a food worth $1,000. Even with friends over, how did they manage to eat that much food between 2 people in 11 days? If I saw my house in a complete pigsty when coming home early with a house sitter, I'd probably have a stroke. They're supposed to care for the house in your absence, not frantically clean like a guilty teen 5 minutes before you get home. And the fact that this is not some stranger that you would expect the bare minimum from, but rather you'd have a longtime partner with, who do you think would have more care about your belongings and your feelings makes it even worse? The worst of it is that most of the food was wasted. They were pots and pans left with all the food they cooked. They didn't even try to refrigerate it after cooking for leftovers. Okay, that is honestly the worst part. We grew up poor, and although my husband and I do fine now, we're nowhere near well off. I'll admit sometimes food waste does happen, but not because of pure negligence. Sometimes we pack up food in the fridge when we make too much. Then we work so late at the restaurant, even coming home and reheating something becomes an exhausting extra, so we eat something that doesn't require cooking or bring home food from the restaurant. Then the poor leftovers suffer several nights of this fate. Of course, this isn't the regular, but it's the only reason we end up wasting food. The number one thing that you need to be able to do as an adult who struggled with or still struggles with, in your ex's case, financial insecurity is make food stretch. Buy bulk things like rice and beans. Make sure you stock the freezer with meats and things when they're on sale. And above all that, make sure you use your leftovers, either just as is or transform them into another meal. He was lazy with food waste because it was on your dime. What a terrible example to set for his daughter. She's going to learn nothing of value for getting through tough times at this rate. I'm sorry you had to clean up after someone who was supposed to be your partner, and I'm sorry he wasted all of your food. Glad you saw what type of person he was before the relationship progressed even further, though. Story 3. Update. I, 29 male, am thinking about leaving my wife, 26 female, after she opened up to me. Original post. About a month ago, my wife and I had a long talk. She explained to me that she no longer knew if she loved me as a man anymore, or even if she ever loved me truly. All this started when we got married a year and a half ago. Sex got less and less frequent, and I started complaining about it. But it never changed. After a while, she got distant, stopped saying that she loved me, doing things with me, posting things on social media, etc. We had a few conversations about how I was feeling left out and how we could improve, but it never did. Then she started doing therapy, and in 3 or 4 sessions, she and her therapist came to the conclusion that she no longer knew if she was in love with me. We sat down and talked. We decided to work things out and do our best not to divorce. The thing is, I'm the only one trying. Of all the things I said I wanted in this relationship, she never made any effort to do in this last month. I'm getting quite frustrated about this situation because I don't even know if she wants to get better or just want me to finish this relationship so she doesn't get to be the one that ended it. This month, I've been thinking about restarting my life, focusing on my plans and wishes, and eventually finding someone who truly loves me the way that I know I deserve to be loved. But on the other hand, I don't want to let this relationship die. It's been so long. We've been through so much together, and I fear that eventually both of us will regret if we part ways. I'd like some input from people that have been in the same situation. Did you work it out? Did you divorce? I'm quite lost here. P.S. We've been together for about 5 years. We've been quite happy before our marriage, and never once I doubted her love for me until she said it out loud and clear. Now for the comments before reading the update. I would like some help to accept that the relationship you had is gone. One person alone cannot keep a relationship alive. Perhaps there is a reason she went to therapy. She may have been told that the marriage was her goal or something like that, and the reality is that it doesn't fix anything that she has realized. Also, not a lot of people understand that growth in therapy can mean growing away from your partner in some cases, and this is what she is choosing to do. It does appear that she doesn't want to be the bad guy, so maybe read up on an amicable separation to start with. Suggest a break to help her see how she feels. Make that break one with the separation of finances, etc., so that you can gradually choose what you need, same as she is doing. Just frame it as helping each other or her, so there is no blame. To be honest, I do think she is avoiding this, and you are within your right to choose whatever you do. However, you can also give her an out that benefits you both at this point if it would be easier. I do wonder if she had doubts about herself but hid that part of her. Now she is accepting that perhaps she changed and is only now working through it. But that is not your fault at all. Just need the other person to be stronger, except people often are not that strong to face the consequences of their choices. So you may have to do that. Good luck. There is nothing wrong with what you're thinking. In fact, I would bet she is having an affair. Maybe emotional or physical or just talking to someone else, and it turned into an emotional affair recently. This is usually the case in these type of situations. But you should just tell her straight up. In 3 or 4 sessions, you and your therapist decided that you're no longer in love with me. You told me as much about a month ago, and that you aren't sure if you ever really did. In our 8-year relationship, things just flipped just like that. I'm not sure if you're having some sort of affair or not, but I'm also not sure I care anymore. I wanted to save our marriage, but it's clear that you don't. So I'm done. I'm done hoping you love me and want to be married to me. I'm done waiting for you to put in any effort into this marriage. Literally, even the tiniest bit of effort would be noticed. That's not going to happen, and this marriage isn't going to continue. I deserve to be with someone that loves me and wants to be with me. You aren't that person, so I'm moving on with my life. We will divorce, and I will remove you from my life completely. I will start the divorce process immediately. Then start the process. I mean, my wife and I have been together for 25 years. Our mantra has been pretty much been, we can make it work as long as we both don't fall out of love at the same time. But honestly, looking back, we should have just ended it. It took so much work and hurt and repair each time one of us fell out of love. You are young and you will be fine. Be thankful you don't have kids. It would be 1,000 times more difficult, but still doable. You can repair it if she's actually willing, but it doesn't sound like she is happy, and in turn, you can't possibly be happy. So what is there to even save? Past happiness does not guarantee future happiness. OP, you can't live life unhappy. If her spark for you is gone, there ain't no getting it back. I'm sorry, but it's best to cut now than wait for something that might never happen. I was in an unhealthy relationship for far longer than I'm willing to admit. Did everything under the sun for her. She just said and did enough to make me think that she wanted to be with me. Sex was non-existent, and the few times that we did it was the most mechanical, emotionless sex imaginable. Don't settle for less than you're worth. Now for the update. Well, it's been a while, and I can say for sure that going through this couple of months has been the hardest thing that I've done in my life. But good news, we did not divorce and we are well. Since my original post, we have talked, fought, and cried. But early this week, I spent a few days at my parents' house and she went to hers. This time alone was crucial to understand that we were not ready to give up our marriage, even though I was 90% sure that I was for a while. While we were apart, I talked to some friends and I had an amazing talk to my mom and dad. They were great and gave me good advice. Yesterday, I went back home and my wife and I probably the most open-hearted conversation that we've had in almost 8 years of relationship. She exposed some things to me that she did not like, and I finally understood the reason behind the "I do not love you as a man anymore." You see, the way that I behaved in some areas of our life was not ideal, and I could have been a much better husband in those 1.5 years of marriage, but I was blind to it all. It's not 100% my fault, but I could have prevented a lot of things that started to strain our relationship. I apologized and promised her I was going to be a better man and a husband, and she forgave me. We talked a lot. I explained her my point of view, and she did the same. We cried, we hugged, we cuddled and kissed, and that day I realized that we were meant to go through this in order to make our relationship stronger. Now we have unlocked the ability to have a proper conversation, and I feel like our marriage starts now. I've never doubted for a second she was the love of my life. Having her by my side is all I need, and I feel I can face everything that the world throws at us now that she's with me. Thank you all for your advice and shared stories. You helped me a lot. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.